companies just aren't ready for the natural disasters, the more frequent and more severe ones that are going to be coming due to climate change. And specifically, it was looking at ports and shipping routes and how they're going to be interrupted by these storms. Many companies are not reporting risks, and in some cases are not even aware of the risks that come from these increased weather events, according to data from CDP, which is the world's largest corporate disclosure platform for environmental issues. So about 80% of companies did report climate-related risks, which is good, but 80% is still probably too low.
Right.
But only 53% reported physical risks that could damage their operations, and only 40% disclosed the financial impacts that those risks might have. So you have all of this risk, and companies are not really putting a lot of effort into understanding just what the effects could be when these things happen. That means that when operations are interrupted, they're going to be much less ready. Economies are going to lose much more production and more money. And that's bad for people.
You know what? And this is also a really good example of privatize the profits, publicize the risk. When these companies are not, preparing for these risks that are going on in our world, we have no choice as the public and the government but to bail them out because we still rely on their services.
Yeah.
We don't have a choice. We need Walmart to be able to get food into different areas. We don't have a choice.
Exactly.
If their ports get messed up, we need to fix them. We need to fix their operations.
Yeah.
It's going to come down on our heads if they don't get it together.
So extreme weather already costs $7.5 billion per year from port infrastructure damage alone.
That's only the port infrastructure?
Yeah. And it's $100 billion when you account for the hits to global trade that are interrupted, right? So if that's now, as it goes up, I think this article said something about with a high-end scenario of we don't cap our emissions at all and global temperatures just keep on rising and rising, we're looking at $2 trillion per year being lost.
When anyone ever tells you that climate change or building out green infrastructure costs too much money, it costs so much more to repair the damages that climate change is going to cause than it would ever cost for us to prepare and green our economy now today than it would trying to patch it up together with duct tape in the future.
Absolutely. We can't get stuck on these short-term ideas of needing to save money right now when we're facing such costlier mistakes in the future. So the reason that this article came out now is one, it was referencing a typhoon that hit China in July, which has cost them already hundreds of billions to repair flood damages, repair all of their port infrastructure. And since then, the IMF and Oxford together have released a website called Port Watch, which is, again, a super nerdy thing to try to visit, but it tracks ports hit by storms and their activity as far as the different kinds of ships that come in during those storms, which I do think is a good first step as far as getting these companies more prepared, because that information is now at their fingertips to see exactly what kind of impact is going to be had and see how it's rising as these storms get more intense and more frequent.
Totally.
The lack of preparation means that these companies are over-reliant on insurance, right? They're not worried because they have their ships insured and they can get payouts if their goods are lost due to storms or if they face delays. The problem is that insurance is renewed on an annual basis, right? Every single year you have to go back to it. But then when you're looking at projects, specifically big infrastructure projects that require a lot of raw materials and a lot of shipping, you're looking at financing that has timelines of 10, 20, 30 years. And then when you have to refinance, you're at risk. And as these conditions get worse and worse, your insurance costs are going to go further and further up, or no one's going to want to insure them at all.
Right. So I definitely view this. This is similar to what we were talking about going on in Florida, right? Florida has a massive problem with home insurance because a lot of people live near the water in Florida, especially in West Palm Beach. A lot of insurers have said, screw it, I'm not going to insure you anymore because it's too expensive for me.
Yeah.
That could happen in the coming years with the effects of climate change, where insurance becomes an unsustainable business or premiums go up so high that no one could even afford it anyway if they wanted it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a bigger loss that companies will take on even than people in Florida say, because people in Florida, it's no small task to move, but you can do it. And if a company wants to move, you're talking about a workforce that you might have invested of hundreds or thousands of people in a certain place. You've built a factory there, right? You've invested in this particular shipping route or something. That's even more capital that you've put in that place that you're going to have to kind of write off
Yep.
as you move somewhere more safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.